Great story now coming up, and we hope it has a very happy ending. 2 years ago, Damian Hammond, he's married man, dad of two. He was driving to work one night when he was struck, he believes, with a severe bout of stress.
Well, he didn't know what it was at the time, but all he knows is that hours later he woke up in hospital to what he described at the time as a complete stranger sitting by his bedside.
But it wasn't a stranger,
No.
it wasn't a stranger, it was this woman here. Well, she said to him she was his wife, Cathy, but because of all the stress and everything through, you had no recognition. No, you just absolutely couldn't remember. And there was this whole sort of amnesia thing that had kicked in as a result of all this. And these guys had to pick up the pieces. 2 years later, he's still unable to remember all of their past. And bring us back to that night. We're going May 18th, 2012.
Yeah.
Just nearly a couple of years ago now. You wake up and people are beginning to say to you, this is your wife, these are your kids. And did you just think you were in a dream or a nightmare?
Yeah, it was really difficult to, you know, to take it all in. It was really difficult to understand who everyone was. You know, when Cathy, you know, came round the corner into the hospital bay, and I thought she was a doctor. I didn't realise that she was my wife. Because she came up to me and she said, Damian, as in like a question, and I just looked at her blankly, and she said, that's your name, Damian Hammond. She said, my name's Cathy. She says, I'm your wife. She said, we're married. I didn't know what a wife was. She said, you know, we're married, and she lifted my my ring up, my wedding ring, my finger up, and clicked them together because we've got jigsaw rings, so they click together. And so that's how I knew that obviously we were linked in some way.
And also, luckily I suppose, you have a tattoo of your son's name,
yes, I do,
which Cathy pointed out.
Yeah.
Cathy, you must have been going frantic at this point because firstly, you know, Damian had gone off to work, as you did most evenings in a restaurant. Then they called you and said, where's Damian? And you went, well, he left hours ago, hadn't turned up. You're ringing around, nobody can find him. In the meantime, he discovers afterwards, because you don't remember any of this, he walked miles and eventually found himself in a hospital. Somebody took him to the hospital. So when you arrived, what did they tell you?
The phone call came and said, we have a chap called Damian Hammond, and the first thing I said was, stop there, is he alive or dead? And they told me he's fit and well, but he can't remember anything.
But you thought he'd run off or something?
Well, I thought, there's many scenarios that ran through my head. He was a suicide risk, so that was the obvious one. He was dead in a bush somewhere. He could have run off with another lady, or something similar, or just disappeared for some reason. None of those were true, thank goodness, but he'd suffered the amnesia. And that's when I was told that on the phone, and then I drove over, thinking, gods, where do I start?
Well, you're probably thinking as well, I suppose, oh, he's just had a knock on the head, or a little bit of memory loss, not actually knowing. It would be completely, wouldn't know who you were.
Not at all.
How did you feel when he just
cheer myself up?
Oh, did you?
And what did you think when you first climbed? I mean, though she's telling you she's your wife, was she a good option? Did you look thought, as wives go, that's all right.
Done all right there.
Yeah.
Well, I knew I wasn't attracted to men, and so when I saw her, I thought, well, she's nice. She looks nice. It's friendly.
Yeah.
So when she actually, came over and explained who she was, and I was quite excited, but obviously very confused as well.
But heartbreaking for you that he literally looked at you blankly, had no
I had to drip
recollection.
feed in the information very slowly so I didn't overwhelm him. Start with the basics. I'm your wife, you have 2 children, and then we built the rest of it over the next couple of days.
And what did you tell your boys? How did you explain to them?
Well, I fibbed a bit like you have to children. I just said that he'd hit his head, slipped on some mud, hit his head, and Daddy's lost some of his memories.
Well, I mean,
I
you just
completely
can't
accepted that.
then pick up your life and you're discharged from hospital and say, right, okay, I know you don't know who you are, you don't know any of these people, but actually just push you through that front door and you not all get on with it again.
No.
How tough was that?
It was very tough because it wasn't just memories that I'd lost, it was how to do things, like brush my teeth. Really? Yeah, have a shave.
So you literally looked at a toothbrush and you thought, what is this? What do you do with this?
Yeah, and Cathy had to show me. And I didn't even know what I looked like. So
Yeah.
Cathy took me into the bathroom and said, you know, this is a mirror. Have a look. This is you. So I looked at it and I was like, blimey, is that me? And then I thought I was quite, you know, scared because I thought obviously a big chap. So I just didn't recognise the person looking back at me.
No. And what about his personality, Cathy? Did you still recognise the Damon you knew? Is he the same man?
He
Although
is
he
now.
doesn't remember.
Yeah, he is now. At the very beginning, he was quite formal. He was very innocent and wide-eyed and very polite, like a good little schoolboy kind of feel.
Like a newsreader from Sky News.
very, very formal. He'd use my proper name, Cathy or Catherine. He never does that. He always calls me by nickname, like couples usually do. And then over time, that formality wore off, and he'd become a lot more friendly. And now we're pretty much back to exactly where we were before it happened.
And
But
do you have
except he
any-
doesn't remember anything
No.
prior to
No.
2 years ago.
No.
Nothing at all. Do you ever have little flashes?
Yeah,
and think,
I have,
"Do you know, there's a little germ of something.
Yeah, like my childhood, like my very early childhood, there's virtually nothing. Tiny little pinpricks. That's how I would describe it. Adolescence, like, you know, senior school, a little bit more, and social networking has really helped as well. Yeah.
And
Because
Damian, do
obviously I can-
you?
Is that because people are getting in touch
Well,
with
yeah,
you?
because I've got all these friends that I didn't know I had, and they're obviously Cathy, you know, put like on my status, you know, what had happened and things like that, and they obviously we got in touch and said, oh, you know, I'm.
What about
this
photographs?
person.
Because I would assume the first thing you do is like, look, I know you can't remember, but look at these. You know, do you remember
Yes.
that? Look, here are the boys when they were
Bagfuls.
born, or
Bagfuls of photographs.
Did you constantly were trying to get
Yes.
him to remember? Do you still do that?
We don't do that so much now. We just carry on with life. Occasionally he'll have little spontaneous, little blips that will occur. But for the first year, it was solidly feeding him imagery, music, foods, places. We revisited everything to try and evoke the
But
memories.
is it frustrating when you don't remember? So
Yeah.
Cathy's going, look at
Yeah,
you here, what
yeah.
you're doing,
To
and you
start
just
with, it was very, very tough. Like the first couple of days when she brought the baby books in, you know, that had pictures of me holding the children after they were born, and there wasn't. I couldn't remember it, and I just sat there and burst out crying. And
But
I,
my friend,
you know, it
what
was-
you have learned about Damian Hammond, do you like him? Are you proud of him? Do you like the man that you've discovered who existed and who's been out there and lived a life whose body you're now in?
I don't know because I can't remember that person.
Okay.
So I'm just living each day
Yeah.
as it
Well,
is.
today's a very special day as well, because I'll bring you back to 2 years ago when you were in that hospital bed and you were lying there and this apparition appears before you, who turns out to be Cathy, and you looked and you thought, she had her best lipstick on, do you remember that, right? She had all that lipstick on, trying to lure you, and you looked and you thought, hey, like her, and you still like her.
Oh yeah.
How much do you like her?
Oh, I love her, like with all my heart, And I just wanted to ask you something. Will you remarry me?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Good. Wave that flag, isn't there?
Congratulations.
I'm going to get you after school.
she's going to get you for that. I can see her,
wow.
she's thinking,
I was
what's he
like, "Oh, God."
doing?
Of course I will remarry you.
Thank you.
And hopefully you'll remember it all this time.
Yes.
You can have a hug if you want, Marion. It's been an amazing journey for them and an amazing tale to tell. And I know your life first time round was lovely, and I hope the journey ahead is even more lovely. Thank you very
Well, you
much.
said earlier, we were talking, and you said you've got to just stop trying to drag out
Yes.
all the old memories and create new ones. Well, there's a memory for you today.
Definitely.
hopefully.
Thank you
It's
very
like
much.
having a different man, isn't it?
It is.
In fact, there's excitement in this relationship. We can see that.
Can I just say that if a movie's made
Yeah.
of it, she wants Tom Hiddleston to play me, and she's got to play herself. She's told me.
Worth a try.
Yeah. Well,
So,
that
Tom,
can be
if you're
arranged.
listening,
Very good.
I'm sure it can be arranged. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
you,
Thank you.
thank you.